welcome to Above All Else, a podcast for women, specifically to help us grow in our relationship with Jesus Christ. I am Brianna Fajowski here with Jen Kish and Emily Bird, and I'm so excited to be. It's summer, really. Like, let's just be honest. Like, if nothing else, I'm excited that it's summer, and yeah, I. It's been a crazy week of kickoff for me with some sickness, but living my best life at this point, so we're totally fine. How's it been past couple weeks for you guys? Jen, how's it been going? Oh, you just had a trip. Yes, tell us about it.
Ah, yes. So we just got back from our May vacation. So we go to the beach typically in May and September, and so we took my oldest daughter's boyfriend with us, and then my oldest son, wanted a friend because all my kids are in pairs. They're paired up nicely. So since Riley had a different friend, he needed a friend too. So there ended up being 12 of us, and it was just so sweet and so large and so chaotic. And the sun shone every single moment of vacation, which never happens. So it was just really, really a sweet, sweet week. We keep talking about it. Like we just keep talking about what a blessing it was. Our last vacation, we were in a car accident right in the middle of it. So you girls remember that. But so we really felt like this was a little bit of a redeeming moment for that. So it's been great. So now we're just home doing all the hard work of cleaning up after vacation and getting back into some sort of summer routine. And to just pile on, it's my number four baby turns 13 today. Yes, so we have now four teenagers in the house at one time, which is a blast. And she's having her birthday party. Actually, her friends are going to start coming in about 30 minutes. So we're really excited. Yeah, I'll be doing this, but they don't want to see me. They're not here for me. So we went and bought a bunch of stuff for an ice cream bar, and we'll just have a little party today. But yeah, so good stuff happening here at the Kish house.
Emily, what about you?
Well, we've still not completely wrapped up school because this girl, first time in 15 years, forgot to sign up for my end of the year testing. Ah, so where's my head? I just don't know what little planet there's all kinds of major things that I have let fall through the cracks here recently. So I'm wondering if everything is working right up here. But
You've been a
anyway,
little
so
busy. You did have a wedding.
I mean, hello, that was March.
But I
There's
feel
no
like for
excuse.
a mom, you get like a wedding pass is pretty extended. So we'll just
Okay.
file this under the umbrella of wedding.
Okay. Yeah, yes. That's the excuse. So, anyways, we still have testing that's coming up in a couple of weeks. The girls and I are still doing math and we've just got lots of graduation. I have 22 graduation announcements that have been sent. And so I've been writing in graduation cards.
22?
22, 22. And so
You have too many friends. Your
that's
ministry is too large.
and I love
I
every single
literally
one
was
of
gonna say,
them.
I don't even know that many people.
I
Like,
And we love every single one of them. We haven't been able to go to all the graduations. But I feel like we've just been celebrating, 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 celebrating. And so, anyways, I just feel like the days have been just very, very full. So, and that's not normally our summer. It's like, oh, let's relax, but we've had a lot of company as well. It's been all such sweet stuff. We are living life to our fullest. And we got a new mattress last night,
oh,
and Jason
okay.
Bird woke up for the first time in a year and a half without any kind of pain in his neck and even lower back. But he injured his lower back a long time ago. So anyways, we've been dealing with, sleep issues for a long time. I say we, he. And this morning he's like, I feel so, and I'm like, oh,
Oh no.
But I like a very firm mattress. And so we ended up getting like a sleep number bed. And so I am at the max. I'm at 100. He is at 30. And so he's like squishy. And even though I like firm, it's still not quite firm enough. But it does the head thing, it does the feet thing. I mean, it's got all the bells and whistles. We put like when you step out of bed, there's a little light that comes on underneath it, or you, so, and so
Wow.
So
anyways,
fancy.
it
Fancy.
is very, very fancy, but yeah, we and we could have gone even at like this is not like top of the line. This is like you know midway up. So
Mhm, mhm.
anyway, so the girls just before we started recording, I don't know if you guys could hear. It's like so I've got children over here eating in my bedroom. You're gonna have to
That's
get out.
amazing. I need Jason Bird to talk to Joseph because I've been saying for the longest time, we need to have a new mattress. We need a new mattress. And he likes the super soft, and I can't with the super
Yeah,
soft.
no.
And I said, we need to get a sleep number. And he says, yeah, no, we're not taking out a loan to get us. And I was like, listen, it will make me a much nicer person. And he's like, yeah, no, it will not. It's
Well,
like, no.
if you wake up hurting in the morning, and I do feel sorry for Jason Bird. Like at first I had no sympathy, but I really do. He works so hard and he needs to have a good night's rest. And he just, we've always liked a firm mattress, but then after he injured his back, like long time ago in Virginia, shoveling snow, and then he did something to his neck recently. It's like, oh, bless his heart. So he is not an old man. He is active, and so, but when he gets out of bed, he's like, I feel like an old man. Like, bless his heart. So, but we did sleeping at night last night. Here I'm on 100. He's on 30, and so of course, I want to snuggle up to him and love on him, and it's like. Like once you get to that soft, it's like I can't roll into him. So it's a whole curve. So we
That's
thinking
awesome.
mattress. Anyways, you don't need to hear about my mattress issues on my lands. So I don't even know why I told you guys that.
I
So
love to hear about it though. I'm so glad that you told us about
hello,
your
real life.
mattress.
Real life.
Right?
I love it.
Like
I love it.
mattresses are important. I
They
They
mean,
are.
really are. Well, when you think about how much time you spend sleeping in your whole life, like,
hmm
I mean, it really is worth the investment. We learned that a long, long time ago.
have you
But the
talked to
really
Joseph?
cool thing, if you do the sleep number bed, then they have this little app and it gives you your sleeping score. How like they can tell us when it tells when you fall asleep, when you're active, when you're rolling around. So like my sleep score was an 89. So apparently I slept really well. I always sleep well. Jason Bird, I beat him. He made a 75. So he's very average. I was like, so I'm gonna shoot
Um,
The
90
competition.
tonight.
I just got a
Yay.
Garmin. I traded in my Apple Watch for a Garmin, and it tells me all the things. And it
Yeah.
tells me this thing stays charged for 10 days, y'all. Like,
Folks.
yes, this is the best. But it tells me because I wear it at night, and so it tells me what my sleep score is, and it has a coach that tells me like you need to go to bed earlier or you need to do this. It'll be like you napped for this long today, so don't sleep. 77. It was fair, but it was restorative, so that's good news. That's good
Wow.
news.
So I'm extremely jealous right now that both of you know your sleep score, and I have no clue how I slept last night. Like I think I did pretty good, but I don't have. I need a number now. I'm feeling. I don't know. I know that the Apple Watch will do that apparently, but
But
I
they don't stay charged long
I
enough
don't
to
sleep
be
in
able
that
to do
thing.
it. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I'm gonna charge it before I go to bed and test it out tonight, and
there you go.
let you guys know what my sleep score is tomorrow.
Yeah, we need to listen, sleep is important.
Sleep is
It is
I
important.
important.
Sleep is very important
I used to
and
say when my kids were little, like if I can do anything if I can just get some sleep. Like
yeah.
I'm big on, all of the sleep training, swaddling the babies and all the things, because I knew if I could get these babies to sleep, then I could literally do anything.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And I think to be able to give ourselves as mothers permission it is okay to take a nap. Um, that was that my first two children, I always felt like I had to make an excuse of why I needed to take a nap, or I would just keep pushing through. And by the end of the day, I am exhausted. But a 10-minute nap, or just to lay down and close my eyes,
Yep.
it's
Mhm.
restorative and it's necessary. And
Oh
naps are
yeah.
good.
Listen,
And
if
I am a firm
my
believer in the Navy SEAL nap. I don't know if you guys do that or not. Do y'all do the
is
Navy
that
SEAL
like
nap?
the is it the 8 minute, 10 minute nap thing?
Yes, you lay down, like you lay on the ground and you put your feet up in the chair, and you set your alarm or timer for 8 minutes. And when you wake up, it really does feel like you've had a night's rest.
Like it would take me
It's
8 minutes to fall asleep.
oh, not well. I don't have that problem at all.
Really? Like as soon as your feet go up, you can set the alarm and you're asleep?
I'm done, but I only take those
Hmm.
when I'm really tired. So maybe, I mean, maybe that's my,
That's
but
true.
I don't have any trouble sleeping. I mean, there's a reason that my score is 89, and I would have told you I can sleep real well.
Your bed would disagree.
Usually a 100.
It's telling me different.
Yeah,
So,
I am an excellent sleeper too. I will say. Like I'm very proud of my sleeping ability. This is a
well,
fantastic 20-minute intro, girls.
yes. Hey, do we need to talk about sleep? Make this podcast about sleep. We're
We need a
changing our
sleep
subject.
podcast, the importance of rest.
Right. Listen, come to Jesus, all who are weary, because he gives
Hmm.
you rest and you can get your your sleep score. So
That's right.
he gives the best sleep scores.
Oh, I'm so
This
sorry, guys. I got
headphone,
us on this tangent. So
Good.
sorry.
no, you're fine. This headphone is making like I don't know if y'all saw that face that I made as it decided to make a really high pitched noise in my ear. So I apologize for that face and the like it was like it got me. So I apologize for that. Anyway, well, let me see. Can I hear y'all still? I don't know.
Hello. Can you
Okay,
hear
yeah,
me?
I can hear you in this one. I have no idea what happened with that. That rattled my whole brain just
Mm.
now. Oh man. Well, sleep is important. And so and we all need sleep. So, and we were just talking about being relevant, right? Like we're hitting all the things. So, but we will shift a little bit today. So we kind of been talking about leadership the last two episodes. Um, kind of started our conversation about leading with humility, which we talked about how we saw Jesus lead with humility, and ultimately he is the leader that we aspire to be like. But today, just to take it a little bit more not practical, because obviously leading with humility is practical, but like, how do we cultivate this? So I think our first question, I guess, and the first kind of the topic for today is how do we create like safe spaces for women in the church, in our ministry, like where, because if we're to be vulnerable, right, we know that vulnerability can be a good thing, but we also know that vulnerability comes with I mean, just a lot, right? Like if you're choosing to be vulnerable, like you're choosing to put yourself in a position where others might take advantage of that vulnerability or any of the things that could happen. And so really just as women in leadership, in ministry, whatever direction, like how do we create safe spaces? And I don't want that to sound like kind of like the safe spaces that we're hearing about in like all around the world where it's like, oh, I need a safe space because this is no, like I don't mean that these women are in any danger or anything like that. We're not talking about that kind of like we're talking about a safe space to share your story and share your heart without judgment, without that kind of thing. And how do we create that? How do we cultivate that? What does that look like? And so I don't know which of you I was gonna just softball it, but I don't know. What do you ladies think? How do we do this? What do we do? How does this become a
Uh,
thing?
so I'm gonna steal the lead here because I think Emily will have better insight on how to do it correctly than I will. But I'm gonna start with some words of caution as far as creating safe spaces for women. And I think that the way we want to counter this, um, typically those safe spaces that we hear about, like on college campuses or out in the world, in the workplace or whatever, is typically that type of safe space is for someone who is trying to make their reality a truth that's not
Mhm.
true. So I think that number one, and the way that we create safe spaces in church is that we always lead with truth. Okay, because
Mhm.
I cannot affirm someone and their denial of reality and think that I am creating safety. What I'm doing is I'm creating an illusion of safety, right?
Mm,
Because we know that our foundation in the Bible is on God's truth. So if you have a woman who comes to you and she's struggling with some type of sin, whether it's something like lust or overeating or overspending or something, we can never say to her, um, you know, you're you're fine the way you are. You know, you are living out your truth, or you are, you know, you're acting out of your own needs. You're meeting your needs first. All of these things. We have to be consistent to lead them back to the truth of God's words, because we if we continue them or allow them to continue on in a delusion, then we are just compounding their problems, right? So I think we create safe spaces by telling them the truth, and that's always God's truth, never our opinion, right? I mean, you can share your opinion. I think we just can't link it to God's word. So I think we need to be crystal clear when we're saying this is what the Bible says, and this is how I put that into action. But we have to be careful not to make our preferences or how we put God's truth to work in our lives, that we don't put that expectation on someone else. So, and then secondly, I think the vulnerability is huge. And that's where I was going to kind of lead off is I think that we have to be real with women. We cannot create the illusion that we've got it all together or that we're doing it all correctly. And I think that the three of us, that's what this podcast is all about. Like, we come, we show up, and we say, hey, we're all struggling in different ways. Today is difficult in this way, or yesterday was hard in that way, but we're all three trying to move through this journey and get closer to Christ. And this is the problem that we have is and I don't know that I've shared this story before, but to be brief, I had a friend who I felt very comfortable confiding in when I was serving as a women's ministry leader. And so I was very comfortable in my relationship with her and felt that I could confide anything that I was struggling with, or if I needed advice or leadership. She was sort of my mentor. And about a year and a half into this relationship, she called me to a coffee shop and sat me down, pulled out her iPhone and pulled up her notes where she had kept a list. She had a list of 10 things that I had done wrong. And she proceeded to read through that list while we were over coffee. And I sat there and just bawled, just cried my eyes out, because I thought for all these months and months that I was putting my vulnerability in the hands of someone who was going to care for me and help me where I needed it and lead me back to the scripture. But what she did is she took that information and she used it really to destroy me. Like, it is one of the defining moments of my life. So we have to be very careful not to be list keepers when people come to us with things, that we can help. If we're going to help a woman walk through something. I had a good friend who was going through a divorce, and I was trying, and she and her husband found, they came back together and they were reunified. So it was an amazing ending. But I walked through her with that, and then there was another situation that I kind of walked through her with, and at no point did I ever go back and say, well, remember what you did in this situation, make sure you don't do it again. Like, what we do is we take in the information that they give us and we filter it through the truth of God's word. if you need to redirect somebody, you do it in that moment, right? We're not keeping lists to sit someone down at some point and bombard them with the things that they're doing wrong. So I think learning how to steward well when people put their trust in us as mentors or leaders, or encouragers or exhorters or whatever capacity we are helping women, we need to make sure that we are stewarding that really well and being very, very careful with people who trust us with their like most, their most intimate struggles. And then just the third point, and I'm going to talk more about this probably in leadership, or I'll probably just say it again. But I 100% believe and that if you are in any leadership role at all, in any place, that when you are in that place, you treat it like you are a customer service person at Chick-fil-A, right? Like you speak to whoever walks by you, you smile. I don't care if you don't remember her name, that's okay, but you can smile and say hi. Never ever should we be too busy at church or wherever we're serving that we cannot look up. You don't have to stop. We don't always have time to stop and get involved, especially if you know it's somebody that's going to take, time, 15 or 20 minutes of your time. If you're on a mission, you're probably working or serving somewhere, but everybody has a minute to go. Morning, Bree, how are you? Morning, Emily, how are you? That's all you have to do. You smile, you make sure they feel seen. You've noticed that they're present. If I were a leader in a business or a church or in any capacity, that would be my number one rule for anybody who serves underneath me. You speak and you smile to everybody who walks by you at all times. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if it's the worst day of your life. You speak and you smile. If it's such a bad day, you wouldn't be at church, right? Like if it's something major going on, you're probably not going to be there. But at any other time, you have the ability to make someone feel seen and loved, and that's so easy to do in 10 seconds. Good morning, Emily. How are you? That's my what is the word? Soapbox. That's my soapbox. I'll step down, Emily.
Uh, sometimes I wish that we would truly collaborate, because what you said is very, very similar to what, as we had talked about our topic earlier, I've been thinking, what makes a place safe for me? And the very first thing is, I'm watching, if I am not in leadership, and I'm looking for who can I trust, and I study people. I am a that's what I do. I do study people, and I'm all about people. I'm all about like their lives. I'm just interested in people. So, anyways, but long story short, I'm watching, and after you've been watching, you kind of can figure out who you can trust. So, Jen, your stories kind of sort of rock my world. I've never had that experience, but I hope that in leadership, that if people are studying us, they're seeing that we are women of integrity, no matter if they see us in the grocery store, if they see us at church, if they see us in the Sunday school room, if they see us at the gym, if they show up at our house, or they see me communicating with my children, that I am the same person today, tomorrow. And I'm always a person of integrity. So as a women's leader, if I'm going to create a safe space, they have to know that they can trust me. As the leader who is overseeing and facilitating this space, I have to be that trustworthy girl who is also very real. And so what you said exactly is, I do not have it all together. And for someone to be vulnerable with me, I feel like I have to be vulnerable with them as well. I think that's so crucial. And it's hard to talk to somebody who always has it together, or someone who always has all the answers. As a leader, I don't feel like we have to have all the answers, but we know who to direct them to, the one who does have the answers, the one who can guide us through. So being the know-it-all also kind of pushes people away, and I think it makes not a completely safe space. It's like, oh, they can't relate with me. And also in leading these spaces, if I am a facilitator of women's ministry and I'm trying to create a safe space, there has to be ground rules that that are set, and we have to talk about those, that this is a confidential place if they're sharing in the group. And I would try to do that. And I know, I mean, I lead high school girls now, and we still talk about this space. What is said here doesn't go out. And you don't want things that you have shared going out, therefore you don't share other people's information. This is a place where we pray for each other. We know how to pray specifically for each other, whatever you're going through. So you have to continually, I think, restate that this is a confidential space, that whatever is said in this room does not leave. The only time it leaves is when it's spoken from your mouth to the Lord. So I think it's really, really just crucial that we continually reiterate over and over that this is a confidential space. But again, you're not going to get women to speak unless they know that, number one, they're seen. Number two, that I think that they're heard. And number three, that people can relate to them. So anyways, those are, and I've got a few other things, but I think those are the three main ones. So I'm just reiterating what you've said, Jen.
Well, and I think like I'm flabbergasted. Like my complete like your whole story just kind of like took me back. Like I had these thoughts, and then I don't know if you saw me reaching. I was like, I have to grab my notebook to write down what I'm thinking at this moment, because if I don't, like, that story just threw me.
And
Like,
and it was very hard to overcome, to be able to
yeah,
come, even someone like as confident and secure as I am, kind of in who I am. Like
yeah,
like I withdrew for a long time from trusting,
for
leadership.
sure. Well, and I think
And I bet
that's a normal response.
yeah. And did
Like,
you begin to question yourself as well? Like, oh
Oh,
my,
what? Listen, I went home and I got in my bed and went under my covers and like stayed there until Jared got home. And then I was like, I need you to be honest with me and tell me, are these things true about me? And I went through the process because I had so much confidence in this person and in our relationship.
mhm,
I believed what she said. And
mhm,
so it took me some time to go, are these things true
mhm,
about me? And to be very honest, there was some truth in some of it. But the way that it was done, very publicly, very, very humiliating. But this is why, and not to take it back to me because I want to hear what you have to say, Bray, too, but this is why we have to be careful with legalism. And this is why I was careful to say earlier that we make sure that our preferences, we don't place our
mhm,
preferences on other people. So with legalism, we have God's law, and then we have men or man, humankind, who creates their own laws. And I think that's well intended, because it's like, well, if we create a circle of laws and we break these laws, then we protect ourselves from breaking God's laws, because
mhm,
we've buffered them with our own set of preferences. And I think legalism is very dangerous in that way, because then I start to believe that these laws that I've made for myself also need to apply to you, right?
mhm,
So if I think women shouldn't wear pants, you know, that's not biblical, but I begin to place that expectation on you. So when you fail to meet
mhm,
my expectation, then you and I have a problem that has nothing to do with God.
mhm.
So we've essentially removed God from the relationship, and we're holding people to a completely different standard that has nothing to do with them. So that's why I was just wanted to mention about cautioning against holding people to our own standard or preferences or opinions. So,
and as a leader, it shows you the power of our words. I
Mhm.
mean, how it's like, gracious me, we really do have, as leaders of women or whoever we're leading, the power that we have to really rock somebody's world.
Yeah.
And how crucial it is that we go to the Lord first before we do any kind of, hey, I'm going to approach this person. Mm,
Let me
that
counsel you, but not really counsel you, just literally sit here and berate you. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, well, there were so many things that you said that I was like, oh, But one of the things that I think stood out, one of the things is that, so I am a week leader. Like, what am I? I don't even know what my title is at church. I don't even know what it is. So we have these teams, okay, and I oversee the team leaders. So basically, like each team leader has a team. We have security, we have like security and safety, we have greeters, we have like all these people, right? Well, the team leaders, I oversee the team leaders, which is like 5 people that I communicate with so that they can communicate to their teams. And we started having these meetings every Sunday morning. And I would sit in there with these people and I said, listen, we've all had weeks. Like we have all lived different weeks this week. But at the end of the day, like you chose to show up today, like you chose to be here doing whatever job it is that you have been assigned to do. So what you're going to do today, and this is, I mean, like, I don't know, I just felt very passionately about it. So I was like, what you're going to do today is you're going to forget everything that's happened to you this week, because every single person that comes into our church has also been dealing with something, but they are not in a position where they have decided to lead in any way today. And you might be a greeter and you might see it as, oh, I'm just saying hi to these people as they come in, or I'm just, but that's not what it is. Like you are the first face of Jesus that they're going to see today. And so I would love to talk to you about what's been going on in your week later. Like we will, if you need to talk about it, like let's talk about it. I want to be here to support you. But at the same time, like you're not taking that in out of this room. Like it stays here in this room, because our job now, you've decided to show up, is to be Jesus to these people. And so I really do think that being that person that when they see, like, remembers their name. I have talked to so many women, and I was going to say this like for in our next episode, but it just kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe it's, I don't know. But I've talked to so many women, and most recently I talked to someone, and she was saying that she had done this study with this lady at her church. Like they had done 4 studies. So we're talking weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks, right? Like we're not talking 4 weeks of one study. We're talking 4 different studies, probably 6 weeks minimum at that point, right? So they've been together for a minute. I say that to make sure we know, like they've been there together in the room together doing studies together for a while. They get to the 5th study or something like that. It was like the 5th study, or maybe it was like just a random week. The lady that was leading it introduces herself to this lady that has been with her and says, I don't know that I've met you. And she says, I've been here for years. Like we've sat through 4 studies together. And that became, for that lady, an unsafe place, because once again, we all have things that go on in our lives. Like we have things that happen in our lives day to day, right? Like we do not always have the best days. I know Wednesdays are always rough days for me, because those are my days when I have to teach boys all day long. So like those are my like, oh, I'm drained days. But if I'm showing up somewhere to lead people, I'm going to have to say, you know what? It's not about me. It's about the furthering of the gospel. It's about Jesus. It's about the people that God has put in my path today. And here is the importance. Like these people are now my main priority. And I can debrief with somebody that I trust. And so like I can do that later. Like we will debrief this crazy day later. But not knowing someone's name, not like, it shows like, oh, this isn't a safe place for me. Like I can't be vulnerable here because these people don't care. My story now becomes the next prayer list, which is a thing in the South that just drives me nuts, right? Like my life is not to be put on your prayer list. Like, I don't want, like for the church, I don't even know if
Mhm.
churches still do that. I don't know, but probably some do. But they put out like this massive list of prayer requests for the week. Well, let's pray for Brianna because she's going through. Absolutely not. Do not be telling my business like that. Like, that's not, but that's what, when there's not that, even knowing someone's name, like they no
Mhm.
longer feel safe in this ministry, and
Yeah.
they no longer are going to trust your leadership and your guidance. And and I'm not saying that this lady does, like the lady I was talking to, I'm not saying that that's how she feels about these people, but I imagine this is how I would feel. This is so, speaking for myself, if someone didn't know my name after, I mean, you're looking at a good, let's say it's just 6 weeks, right? You're still looking at a whole, like what, 24 weeks together
Yeah.
and not knowing someone's name. And it diminishes their impact for the kingdom, because now it's like you care about the people you care about, and I'm not one of those people. And I no longer have a place here. But where else do I go? If this is what ministry is, if this is what women's ministry is,
Mm.
like where do I go that it's going to be different? Where do I don't know that. So I think I agree firmly that, and even if you don't know their name, right? Like you've met them maybe 2 or 3 times. And I know that like there are a million people that we come into contact with. So sometimes not remembering somebody's name, like Joseph remembers everybody's name. I don't know how he does it. It takes me a good hot minute to remember people's names, but I'll remember random facts about them. Like I will not
Mhm.
remember your name, but we will have a conversation about your cousin that did this. And like, even if you can't remember their name, remember something about what they shared with you, and
Yeah.
then just look them up on Facebook later, like, and be like, this was their name. But remember something. I mean, try and remember their name. Like that would be so nice and kind. But if not, don't walk away from the conversation being like, oh, well, I gained nothing new from this person. Like everything they told me is irrelevant. No, ask about their, whatever it was that they shared with you, because that shows them that you cared enough to
Mhm.
remember, even, and you don't have to admit to them you don't know their name. Like, once again, try to remember their name. But as long as you remember something about your encounter with them and you can
Right.
recall it, like it lets them know that, hey, I am cared for. And it's not because they don't care that they don't remember my name. It's because they've got 1,000,006 different people in here. There's a difference between not remembering somebody's name and being like, oh, I'm just meeting you for the first time after, a year of being in the same
For sure.
little group. So, anyway, sorry. That was my soapbox, apparently. So sorry.
Well, just walking into a room, though, I think about when the two moves that we've had. And I'll talk about Burning Bush. Burning Bush is so good at that, at seeing new people. I'll throw out Lamar and Kay Shipley. Uh, we walked into the church and they made a beeline for us, and the following week they remembered us, and they remembered that we had 4 girls, and there were a couple young girls who had been sent over, and they remembered Adeline and Claire's name that when we came back 2 weeks later. And it was shocking to me that they remembered our faces. We want to be that way. When we moved to Augusta, it was hard to find where we belonged, and we would go to church after church after church. And not only I mean, yes, you had the greeter guy who opened the door, gave you a bulletin or something, and then that was it. We want to be seen. I mean, God, if we follow the example of the Lord, I mean, we've got Hagar who said, is it Hagar? Uh, why am I just forgetting her name? Ishmael's mother.
Yeah.
Hagar.
That's
Hagar.
Hagar.
Yeah. Somehow that didn't sound right as soon as I said it. But here she's been banished from Abraham's house, and what does she end? God says, I'm El Roy. You are the God who sees me. We all need to be seen, and especially when we're coming into a new environment.
Yeah.
Oh, I want somebody to see me. I want them to make some kind of meaningful contact with me. That is so important for me. I don't want to just blend in. I want somebody to welcome me in. I do want the Chick-fil-A service. Oh, it is our pleasure. I see you. So we have to be so intentional, especially as leaders of women, to see those women, to make some kind of meaning. I love that you said, Bree, some kind of meaningful contact. And it's not like, hey, how you doing? And I just walk off.
Right.
I really want to hear something about your day.
Right.
How are your kids? I want to see you come in, and you've got two little girls. I've got girls too. Make some kind of conversation that will begin to develop that relationship. And you're right, we do need to know names, but sometimes when you do have this Rolodex in your head, I'm dating myself. Hello, I'm a 70s girl. This Rolodex in my head that's got so many names in it. I may have to go over to, another girl's like, oh, okay. I've talked to her like 4 times now and I cannot remember her name. I think she looks like an Amanda. That's a game I play. It's like, oh, you look like this. And that becomes your name in my head. Well, game to play. It's always wrong. So I may have to go over here. It's like, okay, remind me of her name. Oh, man. Okay. I would not think that she looked like a Martha. She's an Amanda in my head. Anyways, but I know something about her, and I'm going to make some kind of meaningful contact with her every time she comes. I want to be able to speak to every person who comes in, and even as a teacher and as a co-op teacher, um, I want to stand there at the door, and I'm going to say every child's name who walks through my door. And my friend Christy, who she wrote this book called Learning Can Stick. And one of the things that she does, she gives everybody a sticker. And I am so glad you're here. And my kids, they look so forward to getting that sticker, but it's not just the sticker, it's the meaningful conversation that I'm here at the door. And sometimes they don't want a sticker, sometimes they just want a high five, but most of the time they want the scratch and sniff stickers that I hand out. And they love it, but I'm making some kind of contact with them. They are seen and they're made to feel
Mhm.
special. That's young kids or that's high schoolers. We adults are no different.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's going to help. Knowing that I know that person, I know something about them, that's going to help them be able to become more vulnerable, and that I am a person that they can trust. And I'm hopefully creating an atmosphere that is welcoming and inviting. If I don't feel welcomed and invited and a part of the group, I will never share.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's just so.
And to piggyback on that, it's very interesting. When we first moved here, we started visiting a church, and I'll just throw Michael Savage back out. We came into the church. We'd been in town for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks at this point. We met Michael during the welcome. And at some point during the service, Jared gets a notification on his phone as a friend request on Facebook from Michael Savage during church service. But that's how important it was to him to make that initial connection. And here's the rub on that. We didn't end up at their church. We didn't, we visited there for some time and then we moved on, but they are still our closest couple friends up here in this area. And it's because he was intentional to make a connection to somebody the first chance, literally the first chance that he got. And those types of things, even if you may feel dumb, speaking to somebody, you may feel intimidated by someone, but for every person that doesn't want to be spoken to or asked, there's nine, there's nine behind them that are going to remember that they matter to you
Right.
if only in that moment. So yeah, I love that. And I've got some things I want to share in part two also about cliques and things like that within the women's ministry, but I'll save all of that for part two.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's a great segue into part two. So, if you guys tune in 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks, you will hear part two of our developing this safe space, but also how are we cultivating and growing women's ministries? How do we start a women's ministry? What does that look like? What do we need to do? What are some things that we've learned from experience? Like, hey, maybe don't do that because didn't work out so well. Anyway, so tune in for part 2 in a couple of weeks.